Thank you. So Ryan from Jack is Pretty, thank you very much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Congratulations with your film.
Thank you, thank you.
So if you could just give us a brief description of what the film is about and how you became involved in this.
Okay, the film is about a little girl raised by hoarders and neglected, and also is being stalked by a bully. And she comes across a discarded Jack-in-the-Box. So that Jack-in-the-Box becomes her only friend.
Because I have seen this, and it's a very, very unusual. It's a great film.
Oh, thank you.
Very surreal. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted you there.
Yeah, no, it is. It used to be even more surreal until my partners helped me tone it down a bit. I'm the writer and the co-producer of it, and it's based on the nursery rhyme "Pop Goes the Weasel."
Yeah, I know it well.
Yeah, and the little girl, which you don't really find out until the end in the credits, her name is Weasel. And then the bully is Monkey.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So it's kind of. There's a lot of.
Because it's quite dark. I mean, where did that?
It is.
So sorry, as the writer, this obviously came from you.
Yes.
And where did you? I mean, I know it's from Pop Goes the Weasel, but I guess it's not quite that simple. Was there something sort of rolling around in the back of your head, or maybe it was?
Yeah. Actually, this is based on a like 25, 30-page short story that I wrote.
Oh, so this is a germination of something else.
Well, I wrote the short story first, and then I wrote the short film. I've actually written a fefeature version of the film as well.
Right, okay.
And as well as a prequel to the short, so another short film. And we're going the route of Jack and Jill Went Up the Hill, the play on that. And it's going to tie into Jack is Pretty.
Because obviously, a lot of these nursery rhymes, you get it, I mean, they're quite dark things, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Ring a Ring of Roses and so on, you know, and so on. So this was always built with the potential of having a sequel, prequel, and a feature. And this was like, it's not a taster. I know this is a complete, obviously short film.
It is a complete short film. It is the story from beginning to end for the most part. There's a lot of characters missing and a lot of details that dive deeper into characters and what's actually going on. As you can tell from the short, there's a lot of stuff that is left up for interpretation. You know, a lot of people assume certain things about the film. Other people assume other things about the film. And it basically came from an idea of somebody who is victimized, and they put their pain into a magic box.
So did you know this person was just something that you thought about and decided to make a story about?
No, actually, it started with the idea of somebody who puts their pain into a box that they find, and that turns into something else that comes out and wreaks revenge on the people who caused this pain. But as I started working on it, it started growing into I decided to make the box a Jack in the Box, and then I researched the nursery rhyme, and it just grew into that eventually.
So you've got these wonderful stories, and how on earth do you go from there? What's the next step? So you've come up with these ideas, you've written them down, and you're thinking, shit, really, like, this is all about making film. What's next?
Well, see, this is actually our first film that we've made. The director, he's got a production company. He does music videos, a lot of editing. He gets hired to direct commercials, that sort of thing. And then the other producer, Jen, who did the makeup and the costumes, we are all friends through theater in the town that we live in. And we one day said, hey, let's make a film. So we made this, and it's gone really well so far. We're actually. But
this is a real big. It's not a toe in the wall. This is a big leg in the wall, because you're jumping in.
We really didn't know what we were doing. We just kind of went at it, and we didn't go to school for it, really. We've read some books here and there and looked some stuff up. But
oh right, so literally none of you had any. I know you said it's your first feature, so it really was from the beginning a jump into the deep end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I have experience acting. I acted in New York, and I belong to a professional theater company in Poughkeepsie, which is outside of the town of where I live.
Yeah.
And obviously, Eric has a lot of experience with commercials and music videos. And Jen is she's like nuts and bolts of all of us. She holds us together, and she organizes a lot of this stuff, comes up with scheduling, that sort of thing. And there's also a good sounding board for us, but. We just kind of jumped in the water, like you said, in the deep end, and we're hoping we can swim. And
did you? Well, you obviously, I know, but was it a lot harder than you imagined it to be? Because I mean, I know these things are fraught with all kinds of problems that can.
Well, there are some things that we really didn't take in consideration for our first film, and that was working with children, because the lead actor is a child.
Yeah, where did you get her?
She's fantastic.
I mean, she's amazing. I mean, I've seen it. Yeah.
Jen found her actually. She was performing at a musical review that was hosted by the theater company that I'm a member of, and she said, "Hey, you got to come and see this show. This is Weasel. This is the girl." So I went, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is her." So after the show, I spoke with her mother and said, "Hey, you want to make a film?" you know, and but yeah, shooting. We shot at the scrapyard, and we were limited to 2 days a week.
Yeah, because that's obviously surreal. How did you come? How did you manage to get hold of that as a shooting location?
Local people. Everything was shot locally. All our locations were donated to us. The house that was trashed, that was donated to us. The owner happened to just not be living there at the time. Said, "Hey, take it for the summer." So we shot on weekends, 4 hours at a time. You know, had to give her, the little girl a break here.
Of course, because there are rules and restrictions, particularly with children, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. But she's amazing. Like while we were shooting, she wound up with 6 callbacks to Matilda on Broadway.
No way.
Yeah, and of course I wanted her. I wished her the best, but at the same time I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my actor right in the middle of this.
Did she get it in the end or not?
She did not. No.
The 6 callbacks. That's really honing it down.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
she's fantastic. She's actually she wrote a short story herself. She's now 13. And
these gifted children.
Well, we're adapting that to a screenplay now.
Oh, really?
And hopefully in a month we'll be shooting in Virginia for that.
Right.
Yeah,
that's her from her.
She wrote a short story dealing with her grandmother being afflicted with leukemia.
Right.
But of course, she writes it as a little girl dealing with leukemia. So we happened to be down there for a festival because they moved to Virginia. So we happened to be in a festival down there. So we met up for dinner. And as we're having dinner, she slides her iPad over. She's like, "You want to read my story?" And I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, and I look at Yarrick, who's with me. I'm like, "You got to read this." And so he took a look at it. And he's like, "Do you want to make it a movie?" I'm like, "Sure." So
seriously?
Yeah. So it's just so heartfelt.
That's a 13-year-old.
Yeah, her mother printed it out for me because we were going on down to Raleigh, North Carolina. So on the road, I was sitting in the back making notes, started figuring out how we can build this into a screenplay. Yeah. So that's coming up, and then also the prequel to Jack is Pretty.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's what I was going to ask about that next. So I can imagine you've had a really good reaction. I mean, as I say, I've seen it. I can see what's gone into the quality of it. So what kind of, because I'm guessing you're pushing this to obviously distributors and trying to get the message out there. What's been the general reaction to it from the kind of people that you're trying to get it to?
Well, we actually haven't really pushed it around distributors yet. I think we won Best Short Film in Orlando, Florida, and through that we're getting some sort of distribution deal through a short film network. That's Yarrick is handling all that. They give them all the information for that. So I'm not sure exactly what that entails at this point. I'm just focusing on the next script, while he's handling that stuff.
Because as I asked the last filmmaker this, actually, it must be devilishly difficult to handle marketing, but somebody's got to do that, haven't they?
Yeah.
Whereas really, you want to be making films. I know that.
Of course, yeah. We want to make 2 more shorts because obviously we've learned a lot doing this. I mean, watching it now, I think like any other filmmaker, I just see nothing but the mistakes. I'm like, oh, we could have done this, we should have done this better. So the next time around, we're going to come in, much more prepared, much more seasoned, and then do another one after that. Then hopefully get the resources together to possibly do the feature. And
these 2 other shorts, you haven't touched upon them yet. They're completely different to anything you're doing. I know you're looking at this girls one as a film, but
yeah, that one's we're not really counting that as part of what our company is doing, but we. That obviously it's going to be much simpler than what we did with Jack is Pretty. Jack is Pretty was a heck of a... Yeah,
that's quite complex, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. But we're going to do a prequel. Right now the working title is Broken Crown, and it's Jack's journey of how he gets... It's the beginning of how he gets into the box. Yeah. And it's kind of fun because doing it that way and having Jack done first and saying, oh, I have an idea for a prequel, when you watch it in order, it's going to kind of change some of the flavor of Jack is Pretty. There's a lot of stuff that we can insinuate and change. That's because of so much that's left with the symbolism and the stuff that is left up for interpretation. We have a lot of room to toy around and play. So you can watch it in order and get one message. You can watch it chronologically, first story, second story, third story. You get a slightly different message.
And what about? I know this is quite a dramatic genre.
Mm-hmm.
any ideas doing? Perhaps have you looked at doing sort of comedy or rom-com? I mean, the list is endless, I know, but
well, from this we've gotten some jobs doing public service announcements and other commercials. So we're getting hired to do that. I'm doing the writing, he's shooting it, and we're casting actors through our local area, that sort of thing. But we've come up with a few ideas for some just simple YouTube videos of fake public service announcements on the humorous side.
Oh right, okay.
Some slightly disturbing. My mind goes way out, and I'll come up in the middle of the night and I'm like, hey, what about this? And he's like, nah. He's like, it's too much. but yeah, it takes us about 3 hours to shoot one of those. So he owns this equipment, so we figured why not hang around a little bit longer each day we shoot and just would do a fake version. And
I know you were saying that it's originally you were the other side of the camera. Is that right?
I'm in Jack is pretty.
Yeah,
well.
sorry,
like
but
one line.
Yeah, initially. So what made you transition into that? What was this sort of tipping point?
I always wrote just for pleasure, just as a hobby, and I've knocked out like approximately 100 pages of a rough novel as well. And that's just something I have to get back to at some point. After I started doing the film stuff, I'm like, I like this. I can put this on the back burner for now. But I've always just done it. Never really thought anything would come of it, and until I met the right people, and we all decided let's do something.
So do you prefer the writing or the being behind the camera or in front of the camera? Is it? Or
I like both.
You like right? Okay.
I like both. Yeah. And again, I also am active with the theater company as well. So we do a lot of original play readings. We do a lot of stage productions in our area. So.
And what was the most difficult part of making this whole project? There's got to be a story.
Well,
there's always a story.
This is kind of funny. So when we started, I was saying, so when are we gonna get the storyboard together? He's like, oh, we don't. I'll just like put up my shot list. I don't really want to do a storyboard. So doing it that way and not really thinking of how much we were shooting, the amount of footage that we had was staggering.
Seriously?
We would shoot wide angle, 3 or 4 takes, then reverse it, and then medium angle, 3 or 4 takes, reverse it, and then close up, 3 or 4 takes, reverse it. And there was just so much footage. And there's always like, oh, one more, let's see if we do one more, one more. We kept pushing for one more.
Is that just because you really wanted to get a feel for it? Not having more footage and less is obviously better, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
Just
endlessly shooting just to find your feet. Was it more a case of that, or just?
I think so. I think the back, when, my opinion, in retrospect, we were just being really careful. We wanted to make sure we got what we were getting, what we wanted, and
because you can't go back, really, can you?
You can't. No. Especially, she grew so much over a summer. You won't really notice it unless you really look for it in the film. But we shot that over an entire summer, and as it was going on, that skirt was getting shorter and shorter because she was getting taller and taller.
Yeah.
And she hit her growth spurt during the filming of that.
Yes.
And so obviously you can't go back, but when it came down to editing, like one day we sat for, and I don't know, I'm not an editor, I don't know if this is a normal, but we sat for like 12 hours and had a minute and a half of footage out of that.
No way.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, at one point we were clicking around, he goes, you know what? I think we should have had a storyboard. And I was like,
oh, hang on, so you didn't storyboard the film?
No.
Oh, right, on my word, because just naturally assumed
it was a shot list, yeah, and we just went from the shot list. We were like, oh, I like this angle, that shot from the roof where she comes walking up into the house.
Right.
That was the lighting and sound guy, Eli. He's like, hey, let's get a shot from the roof. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's take the camera.
So one of the things you said where you've learned, I assume it's going to be storyboarding.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm really surprised actually, because it looks like you did, because the way it was shot.
Yeah.
That's really quite a surprise.
Well, Yerrick is extremely talented with the camera. He's a cinematographer as well, and so in his mind's eye, he knew what he wanted, and we had this scene where she reaches into the box. And that's that magical part where you see the first part of like magic when she goes up to her, her armpit into the box, and we wanted that beautiful shot from below, that of her reaching down into it, and so we knew what we wanted.
Yeah. It would have just been that little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit more.
And I guess also when you, like you say, doing the editing process, I suppose it would have speeded it up.
Oh my God.
Or you can refer to it. So
yeah. And I don't know if you watched the credits at the end, but they were extremely short.
Yeah, oh right.
We all wore many hats. We were all trying to watch, for continuity, that sort of thing, and and a few things slipped through the cracks, but through the kind of footage we had, we were able to cover it up.
Fantastic. Listen, thank you so much for your time. Lovely to talk.